One executive after the next. Beijing says it's disturbed by news of the latest arrest of an executive at tech giant Huawei, this time on espionage charges in Poland, where authorities raided its offices.
A Chinese Huawei employee and a Polish cybersecurity expert who served as a domestic intelligence officer. They are the two men charged with spying by Polish authorities. The two men are suspected of espionage on behalf of Chinese intelligence services against Poland. This is an important investigation into serious events that threaten the security of Poland. Western intelligence agencies have been warning the Chinese government could use Huawei's products to collect data. They say the tech giant, which was founded by a former Chinese army officer, could have links to the Chinese government. Some countries have already banned Huawei from supplying equipment for their 5G wireless networks. The latest allegation will do little to help the company's reputation.
Well, let's go to JD'ASYFK, our financial correspondent, who's standing by in Frankfurt and tracking this story for us. What ramifications could this arrest have?
Well, actually, what you already alluded to, I think more and more countries could actually raise the awareness, or their awareness, that the equipment provided by Huawei, also when it comes to the future of telecommunication 5G networks, could actually be a gateway to spy. Because clearly Huawei is saying they're not linked to the Chinese state, but their founder was clearly an army official, and there are clear, well, not interactions, but it's kind of visible that the Chinese state could easily interfere into company matters. And that's the main concern here. The United States are already banning Huawei products when it comes to telecommunication infrastructures, and others are very openly discussing it.
Talking about army generals, could this have anything to do with the trade war that's rumbling on between the US and China?
It is pure speculation, but one line of argumentation goes as follows. The U.S., or what prompted the trade war, is that the U.S. wants to keep its position as America first, the preemptive superpower of technology, Silicon Valley being like at the frontier of the technological development. So they want to keep that position. And now the Chinese are kicking in that market, with Huawei being one of the most successful rising stars of the industry of the last year. So that line of argumentation is that the trade war in itself is not about like trade as such. It's about a war of technology and who is going to keep the first position in that market.
A war between the top two economies. JD'ASYFK, thanks for bringing us up to date.
Two people, including a Chinese businessman, have been arrested in Poland on suspicion of spying. Polish media say the Chinese suspect is a director at the Polish offices of the tech giant Huawei, the world's second largest maker of cell phones. If convicted, the pair could face 10 years in prison. US intelligence agencies have previously accused Huawei of being linked to the Chinese government, which they say uses its technologies for espionage. Katrina Yu has more now from Beijing.
The man arrested is a Chinese national who reportedly works for Huawei, which is a major technology firm here in China, and he's been living in Poland for more than 10 years. Not many details so far from Poland's intelligence agency, but they do say that this is an operation that has been planned for a long time and which was implemented very carefully. Now, Huawei is a technology company that's no stranger to controversy. They have very close ties to the government, and they work to develop telecommunications, mobile phones, internet technology. Now, they've always denied that they funnel any information back to the Chinese government, that they work directly with the Chinese government, but still there are many fears that Huawei technology is being used as a backdoor for information or intelligence for the Chinese government, so much so that Japan, for example, has blocked Huawei from being used in any government contracts. The UK, Australia, New Zealand has blocked Huawei from participating in any 5G network trials. And Meng Wanzhou, who is an heiress and executive of Huawei, was arrested in Canada late last year at the request of Washington for allegedly violating US sanctions. Now, at the moment, this story isn't receiving much air here in China. Actually, the opposite. Any reports of the arrest are being very quickly removed from Chinese social media, which is indicating that this is not a good news story for China. And there are already some fears of what this might mean going forward. Of course, after Meng Wanzhou was arrested in Canada, there were 2 Canadians who were detained here in China. The Chinese government denies that they're related, but still there are fears of what could happen to Polish nationals moving forward. Now, if this Chinese national is found guilty of espionage, he could face 10 years in prison, and at the moment he's already looking at about 3 months in detention.